Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's Damon once again here to present to you another top 10 list. And I hope you like my previous rant. I wasn't supposed to give one like this. I didn't intend to. But just thinking about the state of WB really got me miffed about the whole thing because WB could be so much better and they're just okay. And it's like Triple H to me right now, at least right now, just takes the old formula they used for so many years in NXT and doesn't adapt at all to the main roster. He just used the same thing over and over again. And I felt like I want to call him out on this. So yeah, but I don't want to rant on this more because then I'm going to lose track and I don't feel like making it too long-winded. So today I want to talk about my top 10 face turn and my top 10 heel turns of all time. Warner, and spoiler alert, it's mostly WWE and some WCW and there may be some ECW as well that I would put in. But it's mostly WWE because I grew up with WWE and yeah. TNA, is there some good face in heel turn? Yeah. And some minor mean stupid turns like AJ Styles turning heel for no reason 2010 jumps to mind. I might think that in my mind the best face turn in TNA might just be AJ Styles 2013 when AJ Styles helps the main event Mafia. Like I'm not trying to say he doesn't have good face turn. Yeah, it's good. Or good heel turns, but they're never great. And NW sometimes are just stupid. I mean, like I'm thinking about the whole thing, like good faith, like Kenny Omega turning against like 2020 when he won the world title by beating John Moxley when the dreaded, insufferable Don Callis, and not just as a character either, interfered. Like again, I'm not saying there's not good heel turns, a good face turn. I mean. Adam Page redeeming himself was good. Swerve as a face, good. But again, there's maybe because it's recent, I can't say they're great. They're just good. So yeah, but through all this, the soul searching, the amount of this that to throw out all this, there's some face turn I wanted to include, but in good conscience I couldn't because I'd be too biased. But when you look at back, they're not that great. For example, my honorable mention for best face turns is from maybe my favorite wrestler, Shawn Michaels, 1985. And the reason it was an honorable mention is simple. He didn't be, he wasn't the one basically knocking out Sid out of his life when he was a bodyguard. He was still being basically not just a cocky, but a narcissistic person that you used to be. He blamed Sid for losing at WrestleMania 11, and then gave him the night off. Sid assaulted him. Sid was cheered because at first I thought Sid's turning face already, and he did a power bomb. And at first Sid basically didn't rotate it, so Sid decided to do a complete power bomb and made sure that Shawn finally incorporated the power bomb. And I thought, okay, that's it. But he kept on going and going and going, and I think that's why basically until Diesel came to the help of Shawn, it felt like what really is that? It felt like very baffling. Who is really turning face? And when Diesel came out, you knew it was Shawn. But until then, I felt like you could easily add Sid turn face. But anyway, because it's Shawn, I had to put them there. An honorable mention for the ladies. Naomi turning heel this year was great. And she became, in my opinion, indispensable. This year, she became indispensable. She was already a great wrestler, an amazing wrestler all the time, but she was never indispensable like it was this year when she won the Money in the Bank. And I felt like this year wasn't felt like in 2007, 2017 when she won the SmackDown Women's title twice. It felt like this time they truly trusted her as the main and not basically giving her as a thank you for all the gift. It felt like this time it felt like it was because she was truly at that level. And yeah, so it's just a shame that both Seth Rollins and Naomi won the Money in the Bank match this year, and they cashed in successfully, had great moments with this, and were forced to relinquish both belts and are out of action now. I just think it's very weird. I also think Triple H and China turning heel WrestleMania 15 was awesome because they reunited with DX early in the night with Kane, when China and Kane. Trying China turn against Kane. Triple H lost by DQ to Kane. Yeah, a DQ finish at WrestleMania. It actually can happen. And in the backstage interview with DX, you just think like X-Pac look at camera, DX all look at camera, we're back, and you think like Triple H never said that DX was back. It just meant that Triple H and China we're back together, but they turn on X-Pac at the end of the match, and Billy Gunn tried to do a run after the match, and he was so baby oiled with a running that he nearly slid in the ring and nearly slid out the ring in Aries fashion. And again, then the corporation got numbers game, and it led to Kane coming back and turn face, which was a great face turn. And here comes a great statistic. Both Kane and Big Show turned face at WrestleMania 15. And I dare say, as much as they're a joke, I would say that them actually both of them be their best face turns at that time. If only they didn't turn face and heel too many times. But without further ado, it goes for the top 10. Number 10 for heel turns, Larry Zbyszko and Bruno Sammartino in 1980s. Yes, it was done before my time, but Bruno basically was in semi-retiring. He didn't want to go retire again. Larry Zbyszko was spending his time in tag teams, like winning tag titles with Tony Gurria, and then they lost it, and he wanted to embark on a singles run, and he was the protege of Bruno Sammartino. And for he asked him at first an exhibition match calmly. Bruno kept refusing. Eventually, Larry became so hot-headed, said, "If that's the case, I'm quitting because I don't see the point of continue wrestling if my hero doesn't want to face me." And Bruno felt forced to come out retired for that match, but kept saying this, "I'm not going to give a punch. I'm going to just counter some moves. I'm not going to pin him." Basically, he's not really wrestling, just countering some moves. Larry Zbyszko wanted him to do his best to win, to treat him as an opponent. And during the match, Larry Zbyszko got given a wrestling lesson by Bruno, who out wrestled him many times. They even put him in the bear hug, his signature bear hug, at one point in a match in the middle of the ring, where Larry Zbyszko had nothing to save himself from the bear hug, and Bruno just let go. Basically saying, I could have beaten you if I wanted to. And many times during that match, Bruno could have beaten him. Larry knew he was out wrestled. He maybe bit off more than he could chew, but he couldn't stand being disrespected by his mentor. Like he treated him like a little kid, and that's where he snapped and basically hit him with a wooden chair. And that's how the heel turn started. And it led up to a great feud that finished at the Shea Stadium, basically in a great cage match, in which was the main event. In the main event that basically, if I remember correctly, also had Bob Backlund and Pedro Morales winning tag Bob Backlund, the WWE champion, and Pedro Morales winning tag titles against the Wild Samoans in a best 2 out of 3 falls match. And what also was there in the undercard? I don't know, some unknown named Hulk Hogan as a heel facing some anomaly called Andre the Giant in the mid card. Andre is the face. Andre is the face. Hogan was the heel. Imagine that. Sammartino Zbyszko. Morales Backlund versus the Wild Samoans. Andre versus Hogan. What a great card. It was outdoors and sold out like crazy. That's crazy. But anyway, that's my top 10 because if it wasn't for that heel turn, he might have just been a tag team wrestler. It led to Larry Zbyszko doing a lot of great things, being AW World Champion, WWE TV Champion, WWE Tag Champion, etc. And being the king of stalling and the lead announcer of WWE when they took on the New World Order, or as he called them, the New World Order. Larry Zbyszko was understated, and I felt like was a refined taste. Something you don't like as much, but for well, it grows on you. Number 10 is our best face turn. It's Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 6. Sure, the match against Demolition wasn't exactly something taught you to bring home about. But Andre was in very bad health. He couldn't do much. So he didn't even tag in during the match. He did some strikes. He tried to hold up smash or axe for a thrust kick, which is Aku's finisher. Demolition ducks, hits Andre, who's stuck in the ropes. Demolition finisher, 1, 2, 3. Demolition, by the way, only team to win or keep the tag titles at 3 different WrestleManias, 3 different consecutive WrestleMania. 4, 5, and 6, they won the tag title match. They beat Strikeforce, Power of Pain with Mr. Fuji, and the Colossal Connection. Put them in the Hall of Fame, please. But Andre was afterwards was dragging the ropes, and Ian, for some reason, mustered the courage to talk bad about Andre. To point his finger at him, and after a while, Andre just let it happen until he got slapped in the face. And it woke up the giants inside of him. No pun intended. It woke up the giant inside of him and basically knocked down Ian and Aku before taking a ring cart and leaving by himself while saluting the fence for one last time. It was his last great moment. And for all intents, that's where his debut career was ending. So yeah, that's number 10. Number 9, in terms of heel turns, because they happen the same person, I'll include as one, Dominic Mysterio in 2022 at Clash of the Castle, and Eddie Guerrero on SmackDown 2005. Man, both of them, what I think it's not just symmetry, but the way it happened, both of them happened after a tag match, a heated tag match. With Eddie Guerrero, it's like they lost the tag titles to Eminem, and Eddie snapped after losing to Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania and delivered that standing clothesline. He also did a brainbuster the ring step, but that standing clothesline. Why you mention standing clothesline? Because exactly how Dominic Mysterio turned against his dad at Clash of the Castle after they had a great tag team match with the Judgment Day and they won. After Edge and Rey had a great tag team match, that is. And since then, what the impact of the heel turn, Dominic Mysterio became one of the must-see TV stars of WWE. And I'm always riveted to everything he does. Eddie Guerrero added another layer to his performance. He went from being the underdog, the guy you wanted to win, to the fact that when he won the title in his hometown, in I'm not sure if his hometown, I think, at No Way Out 2004, he won the title. Everybody was cheering somewhere, were crying in joy for him winning. To 1 year later, same people will find him despicable for what he did to Rey Mysterio. Not many people can make you love him as a wrestler, as a performer. And next year, I hate this guy's guts, his character's guts, and he was able to. I would dare say that Eddie Guerrero, I mean, that's another person I learned to appreciate better with age. Like at first, he's a great performer, but I always felt like sometimes, okay, he felt like his character was cheating, basically this, or he was using a bit of a. I thought back then he's not winning fair and square, and like, dude, but his character's so good. You're always stuck to riveted when he's on. Same thing with Dominic, and it helped, but I still maintain like it's kind of weird now. For people like great heel turns against Rey, Dominic, Eddie, Santos Escobar, Carlito. You got some. You got. You really need to explain yourself, Rey, because 4 heel turns on you. Sometimes the problem is you. Anyway, that's for number 9 heel turn. Number 9 face turn. Now Virgil turning face against the military man Ted DiBiase in the Royal Rumble 1991. Sure, Virgil might not be R.I.P. might not be the greatest wrestler in the world, but he was a great character. And he was often the punching bag, not just the bodyguard, but basically DiBiase would dispatch him to all of his opponents because he was afraid to get his. That was basically in a way, if you couldn't get yours, you get your way on. DiBiase would get people would or wrestlers would beat Virgil to kind of get a victory over DiBiase without pinning DiBiase. Hercules did that. Jake Roberts did that. And even Brutus Beefcake did it. But it went from, again, he was fighting against the Rhodes, the feud against the Rhodes. And for a long time, he was humiliating the Rhodes, but he was also taking out his anger, his frustration on Virgil, was becoming more demeaning toward Virgil, like basically very demeaning acts, until basically was saying that Virgil was clean the mess. And you could see Virgil because was really getting tired of his crap. And then comes the Rumble. The Rhodes family against DiBiase and Virgil. And by mistake, Virgil accidentally hit DiBiase, but at the same time tried to clean his mess. Literally, he tried to basically make sure that, okay, are you okay, DiBiase? I think he clotheslined afterwards one of the Rhodes. Okay, are you okay? He tried to base him up, but DiBiase decided to assault his assistant, throw him on the ring, and after this, he pins. Schoolboy roll up on Dusty Rhodes, and decides, I'm going to take the microphone, bam on the fans, badmouth the roads, and guess what? Badmouth you too, Virgil. You too paid the price. Man, that was a mistake for DiBiase. Like you don't bite the hand that feeds you. So he comes in the ring and he demands that Virgil puts the title, the $1 million title, on his waist, and Virgil, being very, very angry, very ticked off, drops it. At first, you think, okay, he's being defiant because he's angry. Okay, DiBiase thinking, okay, fine, he's angry. I'm gonna tell him who's boss in this relationship. In other words, I can demean you. I'm gonna pay you well, but I demean you, but you can't afford to not be with me. Being a narcissist person. His character was being a narcissistic person and basically thinking, hey, who cares? I got the money. I can treat anybody I can like I want to like that. DiBiase noticed that Virgil goes to one knee, take the title belt, and he laughs it off and thinks, oh, he's gonna put the title belt around me. He's just on fumes. He's just gonna basically he's hot because of the match. Okay, nothing's gonna happen. Then he says catchphrase and boom, Virgil blasts him across the face with a $1 million title. The same $1 million title that Ted DiBiase had made and treasured over the actual WB title. The same $1 million title that he was basically obsessed with became the object of his pain. So yeah, that to me was great. And basically, your DiBiase Virgil wasn't exactly a great match apart from SummerSlam 91, but I like the rivalry. And the WrestleMania 7 was great because of storytelling. Cherry, after betraying Macho King Randy Savage, ran to Ted DiBiase because it's like, hey, she went from lose a one meal ticket. She made sure she wouldn't lose the other one, and if it did, this meal ticket is rich. So she went to it, and Piper helped Virgil find his own basically courage back, which led to SummerSlam 91. And I thought it was a beautiful story there. We talk about Brett Perfect there. That's great. Oh, we can talk about the awesome jailhouse match between Bossman and Mountie. That's great. The tag title match when LOD won the title. That's fine. But let's not sleep on Virgil DiBiase. The whole match was said that Virgil had DiBiase's number, but DiBiase could beat Virgil if he concentrated on the wrestling by itself. He had Virgil beat. But here's the problem. DiBiase was so obsessed with vengeance, so obsessed on humiliating, not beating. He didn't want to just beat him. He wanted to humiliate Virgil. That cost him the match and the title. And yeah, that's the highlight to me of Virgil's career. And I felt like Virgil, the moment the feud was done, he wasn't complete. He was still a mid Carter, but he went to, after WrestleMania 8 was brought down to be basically a low Carter afterwards. It was basically preliminary talented stars. And I thought Virgil didn't need to be that low. It could have basically been just a mid Carter and not having to be this, but it's like that face turn, that whole run for the whole year was very, very good there. So yeah. So it really made him a star, but also it helped. Number 8, as heel turns, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins was the glue of the show. Was always called the architect, and he seems like the one that most in check. Roman Reigns, if it was that bad guy from, I think there were memes of this. Roman Reigns was basically the bane of the group. Dean Ambrose was seen as a joker, and Seth Rollins was the scarecrow. It was basically hinted that he was the most in check of his emotion. He was basically trying to basically make sure that they all create a plan together. He was planning out their attacks together, their moves together. And he was also the one who would settle arguments between the group members. Dean Ambrose was hot-headed. Roman Reigns was basically a person who was about individuality. But Seth Rollins was the guy keeping it together. Can you imagine people's surprise when the day after, was it Payback? Was it Payback or Extreme Rules? Payback, sorry. Extreme Rules was the first match. But after Payback, they basically did a hat trick. Evolution got shut out. Every member was eliminated, and none of the members of the Shield were eliminated. So you think, okay, next day they're basically Evolution wants to continue their feud, but Batista quit. So Triple H and Orton are there. It's like there might be another member, but they're gonna face the Shield, and then come in the swerve. Seth Rollins attack Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns turn heel. First time you see this is, huh? but they won the match. It could easily be in a laughing out loud TNA moments. Like they won. Why would he turn heel? It's not like you need a change as in this, but it's like the reason why you need a change is as long as in the Shield, Seth Rollins' goals individually were not going to be accomplished. He was a tag team wrestler, and maybe he wanted more. So let the feud with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. I feel like Seth Rollins actually showed evolution, and I thought that's a Seth Rollins I missed, not the Seth Rollins of now when he's acted like half Jared Leto and tries to dress up basically in the most ridiculous ways that it doesn't fit his character because I don't know his character. The only actually preferred his now that he was an eel, it's more dressed in suits and it fitted better than basically ridiculous like jumbo boots that added nothing. It meant nothing. It just meant like I can't take you seriously. This is a mid-card eel that acts like it's not a top level eel or top level face. But anyway, I digress. That heel turn was necessary and led the same moment led to Seth Rollins win Money in the Bank and cash in at WrestleMania. And like Damien Priest doesn't do it in the opening match. No, 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 he does in the main event. It was a necessary ending. It was a necessary ending because nobody wanted Brock to keep the title. Nobody wanted Roman to win the title. So instead having the Money in the Bank match was actually a nice thing, a nice touch, and a nice get out of jail free card. And here's what happens. And I still think it's hilarious that Seth Rollins turning on the Shield and at 2005 at WrestleMania 31, he wins the world title by cashing in Money in the Bank by beating a Paul Heyman guy in Brock Lesnar and pinning Roman Reigns. Whereas in WrestleMania 41, night one, he wins the main event that night by pinning Roman Reigns in a three-way match, also involving another Paul Heyman guy. The guy who was managed by Paul Heyman that night in CM Punk. The guy who's managed by Heyman Shackford each night is not pin. It's Roman Reigns. So 10 years later, Seth Rollins as Roman Reigns not at WrestleMania. And this year I could have also said it's heel turn, but nah, it's not as impactful as the first one. Number 8 for best heel face turn, also in 2014, Daniel Bryan turning on with White Family. For 2 weeks, like at the end of the year 2013, Daniel Bryan had won 2 W titles, but was taken away very readily and was discouraged because after his Hell in a Cell screw job, when Shawn cost him the title against Randy Orton, he was discouraged. He was basically thrown in a feud with the White Family, and he was discouraged. He was discouraged of where his career was. He thought the machine was too strong, so he joined up with the White Family, briefly turned heel. And when I say briefly, like 2 weeks. And for those weeks, the initiation was for Bray to give him the sister Abigail. And it all ended when they faced the Usos, when Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt faced the Usos tag match, and they lost. And Usos escaped the cage. And Bray went to do the sister Abigail, but Daniel didn't let it. Tried again. Again, Daniel resisted, but didn't fight back. He was just basically being Bray's face, but Bray was basically verbally lambasting him and basically tell him off, tell him you don't have the guts to do it. Daniel kind of seems to walk away, but Bray tried to charge in the corner. That's when Daniel Bryan unleashed his fury, took away basically the white attire and was in his wrestling tights, and knocked out Bray Wyatt with a running knee and basically cheered. Basically, there's a yes chant from the top of the cage, which led a great run as a face for the next 6 months. He lost the Royal Rumble match with Bray, but I don't care. I thought that was a beautiful story as long as he won the Rumble. Oh, wait, he didn't. And he won the Elimination Chamber match, and I don't mind that he's the last person eliminated, because I think at this point when it was the last person eliminated and he was screwed out, it should be the story, regardless of what the fans said. It should have been he wins at WrestleMania. So yeah, and then he wins at WrestleMania, but let's be honest, it kind of was forced by the fans, and I also think that we realized that, oh crap, Cena will beat Bray Wyatt. Oh crap. There's not gonna be a new Divas Share at WrestleMania. Oh crap, we're gonna end the streak. We can't have just all of these stuff happen at WrestleMania and have them leave on a win. So we gotta have a win. Daniel Bryan has to win the title. And that's what happened. Imagine the same thing happened, but Batista wins at the end. Like the running knee to Randy Orton, Batista delivers a spear to Daniel Bryan, and then pins Randy Orton for the title. Imagine that. It would have changed completely direct trajectory in terms of the place at WrestleMania and WrestleMania history. It needed to happen. And then Bryan won this and went into winning the IC title. And honestly, truth be told, I felt like he became, because of that face turn, one of the most popular wrestlers of all time. And it shows Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, that the guy, he does wrestle and does have those hard matches, but it's like he gets wrestling more than others. It's not just hard matches, character based. So yeah, that's number eight. For face turn, heel turns. Number seven, The Rock at Survivor Series 1998 and in 2003. Why? In 1998, the Survivor Series. Maybe you didn't see this. I'll recap it for best to you. The Rock came from basically a long Intercontinental reign. Started from December 97 that was given to him. The title was given to him, was forfeited to him because Austin flat out did not want to wrestle him in storyline. Because I already beaten you last night, I don't need to do it again. I'm focused on the BB title. Basically surrendered this as a pity to The Rock, and The Rock's character just, hey, whatever. I don't have to lay in effort, so I get the title. I'm the champion. And Austin stuns him and throws the title basically down the river. And The Rock, honestly, I one of the longest IC title reign ever, and I still feel that reign one of the most meaningful because something happened. It wasn't an IC champion that you forget. It was always on the cusp of greatest, on the cusp of the top spot, and that's what happened at uh, Survivor Series '98. Because after losing the IC title at SummerSlam 1998 in a ladder match in Madison Square Garden, where basically people are starting to cheer more and more The Rock, and while Triple H was cheer when he won due to China. It wasn't a cheer as much as you'd think it'd be. Rock was getting more cheers. The next day, yeah, Rock and D'Lo faced the new results of tag titles. They lost via DQ to Kane and Undertaker teaming up on the roster. But here's the thing. Rock defended D'Lo. The old Rock wouldn't have done this. He was actually stand up for D'Lo. But D'Lo cowardly went out, and Rock basically was sold by Taker and Kane, was becoming a victim of them. That led to The Rock facing Kane, and Rock made an uneasy alliance with Mankind. The real big in the Rock and Sock connection there. And Ken Shamrock, because they were basically at that time teamed up by Taker and Kane, and led to an awesome Shamrock and Mankind triple threat cage match at Breakdown, and Rock won by pinning Ken Shamrock. And the next day, Rock pinned Undertaker in an in-cap match and was declared number one contender. But then the title was vacated due to Undertaker and Kane pinning Rock, but not just one pin Rock. Not just one pin Austin. So there has to be a Taker Kane match, and Austin will be the referee, which led up to have a no contest again when Undertaker attacked everybody and counted himself as the winner and got fired by Vince McMahon. So the Deadly Game tournament happened, in which case Austin was reinstated, but said that your contracted rematch is not one-on-one. It's going to be as part of the tournament where you face the big boss man, the returning big boss man. Mankind, a mystery a mystery opponent, and you think it'd be somebody very, very big, and it was in a way. It was one of the greatest introduction ever. I mean, Vince McMahon took out his reading glass to read off. Basically, it's the one, the man, the myth, the legend, Dwayne Gill, and the funniest theme music ever with Dwayne Gill being afraid of his pyros, and basically being done in like 18 seconds, and Mankind, a shaven Mankind, freshly shaven, face shaven Mankind, wins and goes on the next round. Okay, he's a corporate stooge, Mankind. Maybe they're giving him an easy streak, easy pat the top. Whereas Rock had to qualify for that tournament against Mark Henry. If he didn't win that match, it wasn't just his career. It wasn't just he wasn't in the tournament. His career, he would have been fired from WWE in storyline. Despite the interference of D'Lo Brown, Rock beat Henry and delivered a rock bottom to Mr. McMahon. So you think, okay, He's also is if he's not number one, public enemy number one in McMahon, he's not public enemy number two, and Mr. McMahon also has his son defying him. So it's like three big enemies, and Mankind seems to be one of his biggest supporters. Keep that in mind for that event. Austin goes against Big Boss Man, starts to win, starts to basically gather up some offense until Big Boss Man doesn't care about the tournament. He just assaults Steve Austin with the nightstick, gets qualified, and doesn't care. And then you have X-Pac versus William Regal in a not so bad match, but leads to a draw, which is important because I mean Austin gets a bye, and McMahon and his stooge are not happy about that. Austin beat Jeff Jarrett because, of course, who wants Jeff Jarrett to be anywhere near the WWE title? And Ken Shamrock beats Goldust in a fine match. And yeah, Undertaker and Kane being the first round match, in which case Undertaker does pin Kane after a tombstone, but Paul Bearer holds Kane's leg so he can't kick out of it. So yeah. So that's basically a tournament. But then also in the quarterfinals, you have Al Snow versus Mankind. Al Snow is a good opponent and should be in the Hall of Fame as well because they're very underrated. But he's not someone that the corporation really worries about. So Mankind can do it on his own, and it's Mr. Socko versus Head, and Mr. Socko wins with a mandible claw on Al Snow. He moves on to the semifinals. Undertaker's in the semifinals. Austin goes to the semifinals because of this. And The Rock beats Shamrock via backfire interference when the Big Boss Man comes around and throws a nightstick at Ken Shamrock, but Rock catches and nails Ken Shamrock in the face. He beats the Intercontinental Champion due to interference fail from Big Boss Man, or so he thought. Oh, by the way, in the Rock's first qualifying round match, first round match, was supposed to be against Triple H, but coincidentally enough, Triple H is injured and hasn't been. Nobody's given him an update about his injury, and he's not in the tournament. Who's going to be his replacement? The Big Boss Man gets another shot. He comes in and immediately around, he gets small package 1, 2, 3. And it was an hilarious moment at times. Like, okay, the guy got really beaten. What the hell? I mean, usually when WWE stars return to WWE, they don't get pinned like this. How come the Big Boss Man let it happen? How come even the character thing, Great Trailer, agreed to that? But comes down to play later on that night. So just think The Rock is outsmarting everything Vince McMahon is throwing at him. As Mankind is benefiting from his interference. And to be honest, at first it seemed like this. In the semifinals, you have Mankind versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold seems to be able to win. He hits a stunner. No, but they make sure that Shane McMahon runs the ring. 1, 2, and flips up Shane McMahon flips up Steve Austin and turns against him. But before he can do anything about it, Mankind tries something. Mankind is assaulted, but Gerald Briscoe comes in with a trusty chair shot, and McMahon successfully screw out Steve Austin, and Mankind goes to the final. So right now, one of the public enemies of Vince McMahon that was supposed to be Shane, was a setup. So it goes next other semifinals. Rock versus The Undertaker. Rock seems to have some difficulty against The Undertaker. It seems to keep an even match, but you don't know who's going to win until Kane arrives in front of the referee, doesn't care, and chokes on The Rock, leading to Rock winning via DQ. And you think, he wins via DQ, like Savage at WrestleMania 14, WrestleMania 4, won via the semifinal match by DQ. Okay. So, and then Kane and Taker brought the back. But neither of the finalists, Rock versus Mankind, first of all, they were allies to begin with, and they were still seen as upper carders, but not main eventers. So it's like still intriguing. Somebody new is going to be WWE champion. That's intriguing. Why can't you do this in a tournament? Somebody new wins. And yeah. But you think again, Rock versus Mankind, the two Mankind's supposed to be the corporate stooge, and Rock's supposed to be enemy number 2. Now that Austin's no longer determined, Rock's gonna be a focus. And to be honest with you, at first seemed like a very, very savage match during the extreme match where they let go. The rules are very relaxed because there's low blows in front of the referee and this does nothing. And It ends with basically Mankind tries to Mandible Claw. Rock delivers the rock bottom. It's too tired to go to film fall. He raises the eyebrow. He does the sharpshooter for some reason. Vince says ring the bell. So by screw job, Rock wins the title, and you wonder what's going on until he hugs the McMahon. Turns out Rock was never number one. I mean number one. He was basically ally number one of Mr. McMahon. So I really like that storyline. I also like because there was a time when they said guaranteed, guaranteed. And the moment the McMahon character said that, it's like, oh, he's gonna win. It always meant something. Like he used that word guaranteed, he used a word and made it mean something, which is also an art that's missing. Like somebody means a word like saying, this time I really mean it, it should mean it. And yeah, Rock turned heel there and became corporate champion. But unlike the immortal turn, which makes no sense, they could basically do basically a video of like 4 or 5 minutes. It's like, there were red breadcrumbs all over the place for that turn. Where the immortal one, they took like 50 minutes on TNA Unreal to try to explain the turn, which still made no sense after like an entire show. Whereas this one, after 5 minutes, it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I really like that heel turn. I also like the heel turn 2003 because it was born out of necessity. People were jeering The Rock after SummerSlam 2002, and they were jeering him because of jealous reason because he was going to Hollywood, was making movies. And I'm rolling my eyes right now because it's like, oh my God, a guy wants to further his brand. This is when, as much as I like that era, I also thought a lot of those fans were entitled. Like, we can only have only you can only have us as fans. Like, you can only do this. Like, that's stupid. Like in a way, sometimes, like especially ECW fans were the most entitled people there were. I'll dare say this, as far as an aside, the biggest ECW heel in the backstage area was Paul Heyman. The biggest heels in front of cameras were the fans. The end. But for Rock, I thought he leaned in on this, even at promos where he went heel, he was face, then he was acting like an heel toward Hogan. And it came up, I think it just went full circle at one of the SmackDowns before No Way Out 2003. And he asked the fans, do you want me to basically cheer me or boo me? He asked them, basically saying, and then even gave him a warning. Are you sure about that? Because if we go there, I'm not going to basically be pleasant, in so many other words. In other words, if that's, I would have been laughing. It's like they booed him. Are you sure? No, we still love you. Okay, I'm back as a face. No. They made sure to turn heel, and it wasn't long of Hollywood Rock. I think it was like 3 months. But the moments he created during that were hilarious. He finally beat Stone Cold at WrestleMania. He tripped when Booker T eliminated the Battle Royal. The Rock Hurricane segments, and of course, even with Bill Goldberg. You know, the more thing about it, Goldberg never had a match with Gilbert, and I always thought that should have been his retirement match. Like this gets to go on and win, and doesn't get to exhaust himself. Just saying. But anyway, I love Hollywood Rock. I love The Rock in 1998. You could even say that basically his Rock turn in 1997 when he turned John the Nation, but and the final boss turn, it's a great turn too, but it's the one I felt was just done out of ego and out of basically like being lack of self-awareness. And he beat Cody, and it was fun. He beat Cody, but now that he's not coming back, it's like then for what? Like to me, I saw the point if he came back and a program and lost, but if not, then what was the point? Then Rock maybe Roman should have won. Roman should have won. Their team should have won anyway. But still, or the very worst, I'm not sure if it's the case, or it should have been like a spear. Then Rock tags himself in and does a people's elbow 1, 2, 3. But anyway, I thought it was ridiculous. But that's for heel turn. Face turn. Sami Zayn, number 7. Sami Zayn turns on Roman Reigns. Royal Rumble 2003, 2023. Sorry. I love this turn because, simply put, just like 10 months earlier, Sami Zayn was seen as a mid-card comedy heel who just lost to Johnny Knoxville, was still relevant, but still kind of on the cusp of irrelevancy, irrelevance. And he joined up with the bloodline. It wasn't with noble intentions, just he knew he wanted to basically become bigger, have a bigger profile, and he did. But lo and behold, he starts to get attached to the bloodline, tries to insert himself and help the bloodlines at times when he didn't have to, and actually endearing himself to Roman Reigns, to Jimmy Uso, but not to Jey Uso. Jey was always suspicious until Survivor Series 2022, the War Games. That was the War Games that was worth it, by the way, WB. That was a reason for War Games. Because he didn't want to turn against Kevin Owens' best friend, but it's like, hey, it's my chance to prove myself to the bloodline. And he begrudgingly low blows Kevin Owens, delivers a hell of a kick, and there's a top rope Uso splash for the 1, 2, 3. But again, that led to Jey Uso and Sammy becoming best friends. But he didn't do it because Sami Zayn did not do it because he wanted to enter a friendship with Kevin Owens. He just did it to prove himself the bloodlines. They even said in their promos, like, it was nothing personal, but I don't want to jeopardize what I got. And Kevin Owens said, well, no, from now on, we don't have any relationship together. I'm not going to get on your case, but I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to see you or think about you. And at Royal Rumble, he was facing Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns won, no surprise. But after the match, he went to assault Kevin Owens, hit him afterwards, but wanted Sammy to put on the finisher touches, but Sammy refused. Roman got in his face. I think pie faced him at one time, and then let Sammy just attacking Roman Reigns to save his best friend. But Jimmy Uso immediately turned on him, and Jimmy and Roman assaulted Sami Zayn, whereas Jey Uso left the ring and was conflicted. When the bloodline thing was actually good. So yeah, we're getting that point. We're getting nostalgic about the early, we're getting nostalgic about the early bloodline storyline, folks. Anyway, it was a great face turn, and since then, look at what he's done since his face turn. He faced Roman Reigns in Montreal in Elimination Chamber 2022, but that close to winning, and the ovation was great. He went to WrestleMania and not only break a streak and being the only tag team title main event in WWE WrestleMania history, but he won said tag team titles, WWE and SmackDown tag titles with Kevin Owens in that main event. He ended the streak of the Usos, and the next year he ended another streak in Gunther's longest title, IC title reign ever. He's the guy who, quite frankly, could say he ended the longest reigning tag team champion, the longest reigning championship reigns. That's his gimmick today. So I'm thinking if somebody has a long streak as a champion, Sammy can be the person who ends up. Anyway, and he won the US title since, but I wish he wins the WWE title at WrestleMania 42 against Drew McIntyre, which should be the main event. Anyway, that's number 7 for face turn. Heel turn 6 in 1994. Both of them happened against the same person. It's both the awesome Owen Hart and Mr. Bob Backlund turning heel on Bret Hart. Owen Hart turning heel was basically telegraphed a couple of times. Basically, he was the only Hart brothers to be eliminated at Survivor Series 1993 due to miscommunication between him and Bret. Then, supposedly, there were basically moments that basically showed Owen's brilliance as a whiny heel before he turned heel. Because they said, oh, we talked over the Christmas. We're not gonna fight each other. And then Owen said casually, "Yeah, it doesn't matter if what I said was true or not. It doesn't matter if what I said was true. We're back together." And the fact that the way he said it made me laugh out loud so much. It's like, dude, he's been a swarming heel in front of you, Bret. You couldn't see that happening. And supposedly later on that year, Bret Hart basically did a little Blue Blazer reference to Owen. I thought, man, there's a lot of gems in those promos. And the good use of the word butter at the end of a promo. Ah, I used to say that Bret Hart was only great in terms of promo 96, 98, but give him against Owen, and he was great. And Owen was great in promos too. But the heel turn happened at the Royal Rumble 94, and it looks like, okay, Bret Hart was injured, his leg injured. It's like, okay. But even as a fan, it's like, why don't you tag out Owen? Owen's fresh. He wants this. You got a submission on. It's time. But the Bret Hart character says, no, I'm going to continue the match. Eventually, the referee stops the match. He doesn't quit. He stops the match. And I could say, Bret Hart knows he's going to get a title shot for something else. But for Owen's character, he's saying, this is it. I'm not going to get a title shot again with Bret Hart. So he turned on him, and that's why he kicked his leg on his out of his leg. And then you went on to WrestleMania 10, and he showed himself to be a better Hart wrestler. Why? Because he beat him. And he didn't just beat Bret Hart in your house, whatever. He beat him WrestleMania 10, which is the same night where at the end of the night, what did Bret Hart do? He regained the WWE title. So technically, he beat Bret Hart on the best day of his career. Which props to Bret, because a lot of people would say, nah, I'm still winning both matches. And I thought the way he won, he lost. It's like vulnerability, and it's great because he's too crushed to win the title, except he does and he wins the title. And even at the end of WrestleMania 10, it's like everybody's inviting Owen. Owen's in the aisle. It's like, Savage says, come on. It's your brother. Come in here. Like, squash the beef. Like, basically trying to say, I'm not going to do a Savage impression because my voice is killing me. But basically, okay, come in the ring. It's your brother. Okay, you won the match. Like, go celebrate with your brother. And Owen just says, no microphone, no microphone was needed. You just see him say, what about me? And in fact, there was no commentators because Vince and I think Gorilla Monsoon were celebrating with Bret helped this. It's like, what about me? Like, Owen got exactly what he wanted. He got a win. But for the tragedy of the Owen character in there is even if he got the biggest win of his career against Bret Hart, a former WWE champion, at the time there were in which there were not many WWE champions. Not many people held the WWE champion. Nobody was heralded as Bret. His win was was outshined by Bret Hart winning the B title. And he couldn't stand it. So it led to Owen going further down the aisle as being having a heel turn, which leads to Mr. Bob Backlund. Because Mr. Bob Backlund, he lost his title back in 83 after nearly 5 years with as champion, but he never submitted to lose the title. He was forced out. Basically, he was forced out. Hey, he was forced out of his title due to somebody throwing a towel. Arnold Skolin. And the moment basically that he comes back, he's ready to be champion again, but wants to prove again. He goes to Royal Rumble 93 and basically breaks a record. At this point, I'm wondering why he didn't win the Rumble there, but whatever. Or wasn't the last eliminated at this point. Uh, then it did nothing of note for with him. Like he didn't even have a meaningful match at WrestleMania when they could have had gotten a match at WrestleMania. He didn't. Then he goes on to do barely anything for the next year and a half. Until he faced Bret on a July or August Superstar taping. And he nails his potential delayed atomic drop. And he seems like he's gonna win, but Bret put his foot in the ropes. Then afterwards, he heard three celebrating, but the referee says no, no. So okay, Backlund being a good sport goes back to trying to body slam, except during that time it was his mistake. Always goes to the body slam and gets an inside cradle and gets pinned 1, 2, 3. Often happened with Bob Backlund. That's like a pin. When often went for body slam, got the inside cradle 1, 2, 3. And at first you see, okay, Bret had every right to use this inside cradle. You won. It was fair and square. The better man won. And you shake Mr. Backlund's hand. That's not a problem. Like, pretty much saying, don't feel sorry, gave me the best match in a long time. You prove you still have it. I won tonight, but any other night you could have won. That type of thing. And it's like right there and then, it's not eelish. It's not basically bad guys. But when Bret Hart did himself in, where I feel like it's kind of he brought it up to himself, is he kept giving him a high five after celebrating in front of fans and saying, okay, you were good. And he felt at this point like you were condescending to Bob Backlund, to a guy who, like, he was stunned, he was having a nervous breakdown in the middle of the ring. It's like you were condescending to somebody who had a nervous breakdown, and it's like you're wondering why he snapped. Like, was I think third time, it's like that's it. You shook your hand a second time, you went for a third time, it's like that's it. That's why he snapped. And why I say it's basically Owen Hart and Mr. Backlund, where both are related, not just against Bret, but because of that, because he snapped after Owen Hart lost at SummerSlam, Owen went to team with Mr. Bob Backlund. And it led to the awesome Survivor Series 1994, where Owen fooled his parents into throwing the towel, and Bob Backlund had his chicken wing, cross-eyed chicken wing on Bret Hart for like minutes at ends. And that's a great way, again, to lose a title to make Bret Hart, he didn't lose credibility. And even if he just passed out, he wasn't a chicken wing for like 5 minutes, middle of the ring, there's nothing could have done. And by throwing a towel, it's like not only does just not quit, it's under normal circumstances, your loved ones would see that and say, okay, he's too proud to quit. He's not, I'm not gonna make say that he's quit, but the match over. Opponent, you won, but leave him, let it go. And then the moment like Owen was crying, please, I know I feuded, but I made a mistake. I shouldn't like please, I'm scared for Brett. And it's like Stu doesn't want to throw the towels, but Ellen does. And the moment it's done, Owen says yes, yes, and does basically a yes chant before Daniel Bryan and runs the back happy with that towel and would bring it to wrestling match from now on. I thought that's hilarious. We talk about Brett 94. Let's talk about Owen's character work in 94. Man, more I'm doing this, I feel like I might just watch some old time wrestling after this. And speaking of this, that's my heel turn. Number six as best heel turns. Number six as face turn. It's Mr. Perfect 992 during primetime wrestling. After years of being a heel, since his arrival has been a heel. And since SummerSlam 91, he was, due to back injury, Mr. Perfect was in wrestling. He was the advisor of Ric Flair. But in the meanwhile, it was supposed to be Savage and Warrior versus Flair and Ramon at Survivor Series 992. Another Survivor Series didn't have that much match, but at least I could understand having Warrior and Savage and the Ultimate Maniacs against Flair and Ramon and not having a Survivor Series match because you couldn't eliminate everybody there. But like a week before the events, Warrior's been fired. They need a replacement for Warrior. And they found what at the unlikeliest place. For the whole evening, like Savage, at the beginning of the evening, like Savage during prime time, like is brought through I think radio interview, I think, and Mr. Perfect and Ian are kind of mocking Savage for being out of partner. It's going to be an handicap match with you do with this Flair and Ramon. And Savage says he does have somebody in mind to be his partner. So, oh, please indulge us. I have, let's just say who I have in mind is the perfect tag team partner. And I first say, what are you talking about? And then he says, read between the lines. And Vince maybe booked himself to seem like to be the most intelligent or smartest guy in the room. He says, you mean this, Mr. Perfect? And Perfect at first like laughs, but like, you might be my enemy, but I'm flattered they thought about me. Like, I understand. Like, even Ian admit, hey, it's a great plan. He might be crazy, but I can't blame him. He'd be a great partner. He knows everything about Perfect, about Ric Flair. He knows every weakness, every bad. Like, the way Ian was saying it, it's like, dude, you're making it easy. And afterwards, it's like, okay, Flair Perfect has mentioned this. But the face turn, you just started there. There was like hints of it. Like, before in the year, I remember before the Raw Rumble 992, they were mentioning, okay, if it's every man for himself, the Royal Rumble is for a W title. Why isn't your client Mr. Perfect in it? Mr. Perfect just responds, well, yeah, why am I not in it? Oh, but they were saying because he's hurt, whatever. Yeah, why am I not in it? And it was a bit yelling. And by the end of the break, said Mr. Perfect was pleased back with Enan, but Enan was unhappy, basically hinting that he had a huge raise in his consulting contract. But still, getting back to basic Survivor Series. At first, it's like, okay, Perfect is happy being the advisor at first, but Savage compliments him saying he's a great wrestler, you know this, and I think you're better off than just being a commentator there. And at first, like Mr. Perfect is resistant, saying, I know what you're trying to do, like I understand that, but I'm not gonna be that partner. But he's getting the defense of Mr. Perfect's ego. It's like, okay, he's not insulting Savage, but it's like at the same time, I can't do this, whatever, I can't stand that. But Ian's being mistrustful. It's like, okay, at first he's gonna say no. Like flattery, probably have somebody else in mind, just wants to fool you. But it gets to the point where Ric Flair and Razor Ramon basically phone in, and Razor says, I know you used to be somebody, Mr. Perfect, but now shut up and listen to me. You have to do what we pay you to. And it always makes me laugh because it's like Mr. Perfect's having a crisis, not just a crisis of, hey, Why am I not being brought out to do what I can do best? Why can't I not be who I am supposed to be? Am I not still great anymore? And this guy just, Mr. Razor Ramon just basically talks down to Mr. Perfect right away. And Mr. Perfect say, hey, I'm not listening to you. It's like right now, ooh, already dissension between that camp. And Ric Flair was like, oh, come on, let's talk it out. Let's talk it out. You know, don't worry, you're just gonna be my shadow. Like little things like that, but not as savage, no pun intended, as Razor Ramon was being. So, but little by little, then Savage calls on the phone saying, yeah, I'm listening. He's like entertaining, but you can feel like at first he's not gonna take the answer, he's just entertained by that. Until Enon trips over his word, it basically says that Mr. Perfect has to obey the orders of Razor Ramon, Flair, and himself. And this is when basically Perfect realized basically that he spent a year and a half on the shelf to please Enon, and because Ric Flair didn't want somebody else, because he was insecure that somebody else was going to take over his spot. So technically, you could say it was sidelined from the Rumble because Ric Flair believed that Mr. Perfect could have won the Rumble instead of him. And little by little, it just unclogged for Mr. Perfect. Started to understand that. So Savage basically wasn't just being trying to basically provoke him. It's like he provoked him in seeing the truth. And eventually led up to a tug of war between Savage and the Flair camp. And it's like Perfect's in the middle. And say, you know what, Savage? I'm just tired. I spent all evening. Everybody wants to ask my question. Everybody wants my answer. You know what, Savage? You got your answer. I accept your challenge. At Survivor Series, I'll be your partner. And he is. And then Enon tries to slaps him. And this is where Enon, afterwards, he slaps him. Mr. Perfect grabs him by the throat and says, oh, I would never hit you. I would never do this. I would never do it to you. It's like, look what they're doing to us. I would never do this. He forced us to do this. And it's just like he cowered this like a weasel, like Perfect weasel. And it's like, Perfect couldn't hit him. He just poured water all over him. It's a wet weasel. It's like you knew somebody was a face when they called Bobby and weasel. And it's like already there, he turned face. And was masterfully done because turning somebody face in one show because he has to be a slapdash tag team partner at the pay-per-view. It's like several days. Like it wasn't just a week. It was like 4 days to establish a new partner, and it worked and was done well because it's true in this case. Why wasn't he back in storyline? Why wasn't he back in storyline? Why would in storyline Mr. Perfect not wrestle if he's the protege of Bobby Heenan? Why was he not allowed to wrestle, which he does best? Those little things, it plays off the little doubts in this one, and I thought that was great. And I believe Mr. Perfect should have won the Ice title at SummerSlam 1993, and I'd have a count-on match with Shawn Michaels. I felt like after SummerSlam 1993, there was nothing really striking about his face turn, but for at least a year, it was very good. So that's number 6 in terms of heel turns of face turn. Of heel turn 5, it's very simple. It's Paul Orndorff, Andre Giant. We can't say that Ted DiBiase wasn't an heel turn, but you'll see why. Macho Man Randy Savage, Psycho Sid, all Hulk Hogan. Why? Paul Orndorff basically like, hey, he just he turned face a year and a half ago. He was doing the merchant. He was basically doing commercials for Hulk Hogan's merchandise. He was basically waving the flag for Hulkamania. And the moment he was in an interview alone, I think it was Adrian Adonis' flower shop, and basically they were saying he doesn't have any friends, he doesn't have any allies. What's going to do about it? They were basically even insulting Paul Orndorff's pride and everything's dignity. And all he wanted to do is, I'll get a tag partner, I'll call Hulk Hogan. He talks to Hulk Hogan and he wouldn't even answer the phone call. He was in gym and didn't want to answer that. Like that left Paul Orndorff humiliated, honestly. Humiliated and feeling like paranoid, like who can I trust? I do all this for Hulkamania and I can't even have a partner who's gonna be on my side. That's the reason why I cannot fault Paul for doing what he did. Under Giant basically like, hey, notice that Hulk Hogan as a trophy for being 3 years as champion. 3 years as a champion of a trophy, and he just says 3 years. Well, it's a long time. But even Andre thinks, no, it's not a good time to challenge him for the title now. Let him have his moment. So Hogan makes a sideshow of himself, but you could say it's his moment. Fine, he leaves. Andre peacefully leaves. So say, like maybe it's not the time. Andre gets gets a trophy the next week, a small trophy for being 20 years undefeated. And rather than Andre celebrating, like he seems like, ambivalent about this, Hogan has no qualms about interrupting this. Like Andre doesn't interrupt this, doesn't make it about himself. Hogan makes the whole thing about himself. This is when Andre leaves discussing. You'll see him for several weeks. Andre comes back with Bobby Heenan. Again, storyline wise, can you blame Andre? His best moments aren't about him. He can't even celebrate a moment about him. A moment cannot be about him, it has to be about Hogan. So I can understand why he turned heel. Then you didn't turn heel, but it's like, hey, he did a generous offer to Hulk Hogan. And while people might say, oh, it's storyline based, why are you saying that? Well, in any world, if somebody were to give you the equivalent of money of today, in money today would be $100 million, just give you the title, that's it. Think about this. That would mean money for education for your kids, for anything you want. The character could basically say, I don't have to work for anything in the rest of my life. And I have placement here, I'm finally safe and secure. And I don't get beaten. My title reign is intact. Nobody really beat me. They're just stuck with that. They just know that they just bought me out. But no, Hogan said, hell no. Didn't even consider it. And then it led to this undoing when he got bit by the giant. So yeah. So in a way, I have no sympathy there. Now, and I was saying Savage. Savage is the one I feel more strongly about. It's like, it's one thing to help out when Elizabeth asks you to. It's another thing to basically focus most of your attention on this, lifting her up when people didn't ask you to, rather than lifting up Savage. And doing all this, and basically in your tag team partner to focus on somebody that's not your tag team partner in a tag match. And looking back, you could easily make the argument that Savage is the face and Hogan's the heel. Like, it wasn't his fault, it's not his wife. You know? And you can have Psycho sit there and, well, suggest this more. Why suggest this? It was an every man for himself battle royal. Every man for himself. What does every man for himself mean? It means everybody is liable to win. Everybody has the same odds. Everybody can eliminate anybody. It's not personal. Again, what did Sid do? Did he assault him? Did he attack Nick Hogan? Did he do anything else? Did he even attack Hogan with steel chair? No, he just threw him out the ring non-violently. It's done. And why shouldn't he? He knows Hogan's going to get another shot. Even back then, if you're a kid, you think, okay, he lost the Rumble, it doesn't mean he can't get another shot. But for Sid, it might just be his shot. He was the last man in the ring and was on his way to win the Rumble. Hogan is the reason why Flair won the title. If I can't win it, brother, I'm going to decide who wins, brother. And that's just in storyline, brother. And that was it. And Sid turned heel. If somebody costs you the B title because they're jealous that you got one up on them, that's their problem, not you. So, to be honest with you, the character at least, Hogan, all those betrayals, deserved all of them. He deserved all of them. So that's number 5 for heel turns. 5 for for face turns. Bret Hart at WrestleMania 4. Sorry, I was losing my voice here. Okay, number 5. Bret Hart at WrestleMania 4. Here's a guy who was wrestling his tag team, was tag team champion with Jim Van Neidhart, lost the tag titles at 987 at the October 1987 against the Strike Force when Jim Neidhart tapped out or submitted to Boston Crab and Rick Martel. Then went to WrestleMania 4 Battle Royal. But a little before that, Royal Rumble 1988, Bret Hart was the first Iron Man, the first ever Royal Rumble. He was also the first entry of the first ever Royal Rumble, and was on his way. Was the basically was the last two of the WrestleMania 4 opening battle royal. And it seems like after in a Junkyard Dog, Bad News Brown wore black tights, had a goatee, and was bald. And Bad News Brown and Bret Hart were basically alone in the ring. You think, okay, they split the money until Bad News delivers his crescent kick to Bret Hart and eliminates him. He was double crossed by a bald wrestler wearing black trunks. Where did I seen Bret Hart basically having a bad event with somebody with black trunks? Anyway, Bret Hart went in the ring afterwards, battered Bad News Brown. This third trophy officially turned face, which turned the Art Foundation face as well. And that face turn lasted 9 years. 9 years! That's why I have to put it on there. It might seem like it's nothing happening. People talk about Savage winning the title at WrestleMania. That's WrestleMania. People talk about Demolition winning the tag title at WrestleMania. And that's true. Nobody talks that much about Bret Hart losing that battle royal and turning face as a result. See, you don't have to win at WrestleMania to have a legendary moment. And I think that people need to notice that. So yeah, and that too to his incredible face turn, but I still think it's hilarious that Bret Hart, I love his most important moments involve people who were bald and wore black wrestling tights. I mean, he turned face by attacking a traitorous Bad News Brown. He turned heel 9 years later today to the same event by attacking Stone Cold Steve Austin after the match. A bald wrestler with a goatee that wears black tights. And in WWE, his last pay-per-view match happened against Bill Goldberg, who's bald, has a goatee, and wears black tights. It's like wrestling with people, wrestling with bald people who have goatee and black tights happened to be a pivotal moment for Bret Hart. I'm surprised Wrestling the Warlord did not do anything for him at this point. He's like the exception. Anyway, that's number 5 for face. So number 4, heel turns. Jake Roberts in 991 on Ultimate Warrior, but more so Randy Savage. Because Ultimate Warrior was segments, but it was really on Savage. Jake Roberts was basically, I think, was kind of a limbo in 91 after beating Rick Martin in the blindfold match WrestleMania 7, which I still think is underrated. It's not a spots fest. Actually, kind of is, but it's a less is more. Like it's using fans' interaction and participation in that match. That's how a blindfold match works. But anyway, he was feuding with Earthquake. Earthquake squashed his snake and decided to get a new one. And little behold, like it's a small detail you think, okay, they want to change this. No, it actually led to a change of character. Then Ultimate Warrior demanded while he was feuding with the Undertaker that he wanted Jake the Snake Roberts' help to fight the darkness, and he agreed. But Ultimate Warrior had no idea what he's getting himself into. And at first, you just think Jake is a bit, he's yet using dark, not because malicious, but he knows about the way of the darkness work. Until the final test is go into the room and go look into his chest, and it was a King Cobra jumped out of the chest and bit the Ultimate Warrior, plunging, spewing venom down his system, and Jake was telling him, and you think, okay, he's just doing this for him to get out of the trap. He gets getting trapped. Ultimate Warrior passes out. Then looks at the camera. Oh, there you are. The Man in Black and it's the Undertaker. Both of them are in cahoots. And he just says to Ultimate Warrior, just standing in his hand, thinking that maybe it's a test. I'm a snake. Don't trust the snake. Never trust a snake. And then says, trust me. That's basically the audio gets distorted, and at Survivor Series, introduction of the awesome Trust Me team. And he had a great promo while dressed in a sweater, in leather pants, and cowboy boots, like a fashion football out there's nobody's business. And yet, you didn't care when you watched this. It's like you're thinking this guy's such a badass. He can dress like a crappy He can dress like crap, and you still take him seriously because that's one of the best promos ever. You can talk about Ric Flair, whatever. No, I like how Jake didn't need to yell, didn't need to speak high, just need to basically talk like he just took a sip of tea. And afterwards, he's still psychotic. But everything he wrote down, his promos from 91 to 92 in WWE, I felt like, dude, some people could actually write books about those promos. A little snake, like you would say, a little snake spear, if you will. Again, an heel turn that was great, but wasn't that long, but I really love it. So that's for heel turn for Jake. For number four for face, it's in 2005, Batista turning face on Triple H. I really like that face turn. Because it wasn't a face that basically got dumped out of the group or thrown out of the group. It's a face taking action, saying, I had enough of being in this group. It's undermining me. And honestly, you planned this whole thing out since I won the Rumble to avoid facing me. Let's backtrack in 2005. Batista was getting chances like crazy. He qualified the Rumble by defeating De La Resistance in an handicap match. Got the Rumble. Sure, it was a Batista and Cena at the end. Yeah, the double elimination. The awesome moment with Vince Tears Boiler Squads. Afterwards, matches restarted. You should have said the finals restarted because the match restarted would mean the entire Rumble was started. But anyway, Batista does spine buster and makes Cena wins the Rumble. Still a tweener at this point, but it's kind of basically busting Triple H chops through all the time. And yeah, Triple H says he should go to SmackDown so Evolution can run their entire WWE. Until Batista realized that Triple H tried to use him and manipulate him to taking a decision and says it is. So at the contract signing, you think Batista takes the contract of SmackDown, throws down the contract of Raw, takes the one at SmackDown, gives a thumbs up to Evolution until he turns it down like this. And you think, oh boy, he's turning heel. EA does and power bombs Triple H out of his boot through the table. I think the face turns are basically in the 2000s. I think that's my favorite face turns. Because, oh boy, you awaken monster. And he goes to WrestleMania and he beats Triple H. And he goes to Backlash. You think, okay, another rematch. Maybe it's a no contest. And he beats Triple H again. They're going to, I think, what's the pay-per-view? Bad Blood? Or no, Vengeance. 2005. Oh, Triple H is gonna get the title again. He was not gonna lose the third time for Triple H he's gonna lose the third time to Batista, and he does. That's how he established a star for life. And yeah, he moved to SmackDown afterwards, but I felt like you create a star. Now it's like he's on that upper level. You can't take him away. And yeah, and this is where I'm gonna disagree with Batista. I really love him, I really love him as an actor, but he said he was the worst babyface of all time. Not even close, man. Not even close. The one thing that basically was annoying as him as a face was like 2007 when it's like you lose a title match, gets another one. You lose a title match, it's like Batista infinity amount of title shots. But he's not the worst babyface of all time. Not even close. You're so harsh on yourself as a face. I'm not trying to say you're the best face ever, but you're far from the worst. It's just the context has to be there. That's it. But honestly, I really love that face turn. Now we go to number three in terms of heel turn. I have to put it on there. Shawn Michaels turn on Marty Jannetty. Because Marty Jannetty was such a coward, tries to take the easy route and get out of the window. That's right. Bobby Heenan at 992 had a lot of things to wrestling events. I mean, the Rumble with Flair winning would have been half as great without Bobby Heenan on commentary. Even that turn is here. It's like, yeah, you could see why Shawn turned heel because in the weeks leading up to this, Shawn demanded to face Flair in a singles match. And Shawn, sure, he tried a planche on the outside. Ric Flair moved. And Michaels wasn't moving. Flair was in the ring. Maybe Michaels would have been like could have understood if he lost by countout. But Marty Jannetty decides it's a good idea to roll out. Hey, are you okay? His unconscious friend back in the ring where he gets immediately pinned. He involved himself. He didn't mind his business. Then they go to a tag team match against some two, I think, preliminary talents. Shawn and tag in, beat them both together. Marty has a kind of a problem with it. Okay, fine. Then they have a tag title match against the Legion of Doom, and due to miscommunication, to Marty's fault, Sean gets pinned and they lose this. Okay, then he goes to Survivor Series 91. Due to miscommunication, to a body slam, I think Marty tries a body slam on one of the Nasty Boys. It hits, the leg hits Shawn Michaels by accident. Shawn gets pinned. Do you see this? In other words, people can say Michaels did a bad thing, but I'm thinking Michael snapped. Marty Jannetty, they just not just in outside of storyline, but even the storyline was bringing him down. So now they go to the barber shop, basically think they apologize, and I love what Ian said. At first, Michael's arrogant. It's like okay, he's too arrogant. They basically said, and Jannetty seems to be more basically humble and say, okay, sure, you did some mistake. I did some mistake as well, but I'm not the only one there. You call yourself the captain of the team. What are you talking about? It's like, look what it made you do. There's no captain in Rockers. And he was basically bringing up some fight. Remember that match when you wrestle on your own? You could have lost. Like, you could have basically took down on a name, basically. And afterwards say, you know what? We could play the blame game each other. But in the end, it's, are you together with me or not? I'm going to turn my back. And if you don't want to be the Rockets, that's fine, but please leave there, and I'll know my. But if I turn around, you're still there, then let's continue our path. And at first, you see like Michael's character seems like, oh, I'm gonna hit him from behind. Then he just basically taps his shoulder, turns around, hey, like, or he's shaking hands, and afterwards they do shake hands, and they shake hands, and then you have Bobby. Then you see one without the other is not good. And immediately afterwards, Shawn Michaels does a give a super kick to to Marty. Oh, I knew he was gonna do that. He doesn't need Marty Jannetty. And so the switch of opinion about Bobby Heenan, it's like this is why it's hilarious. What a coward! He tries escaping from Michaels through the window. Will you stop? And the fans were basically like appalled because there was a bit of blood for Marty Jannetty. I thought that's what a great heel turn. And then he created his own first catchphrase. Shawn Michaels like, "Is there a problem with the Rockers? I don't think so." And it's like I was amazed that he could rip a page perfectly in the middle. Like it was no basically it was perfectly in the middle. There was no rips around it. It was perfectly done, perfectly symmetrically done. And then to Shawn Michaels going to WrestleMania 8 when there's only nine matches for a one night event. Well, much more than Triple H would have done. He probably would have done 5 matches. But if it was this, does 9 matches and Shawn wins the match. The opening match against Tito Santana. And he doesn't win with a finisher. He beats him by basically equivalent of roll up. But I like after this, like Bobby didn't put him over by saying Shawn. This just said, "Hey McMahon, hey Gordon, Shawn Michaels just left the building." Things like that. It led to him having great match that year, having the awesome underrated "Don't Touch the Face" match with Rick Martel at SummerSlam 1992. That's right. That's the third reason I remember that SummerSlam. The awesome IC title main event, Warrior Savage and Michaels Martel. Tell me that's not a stacked card. And Shawn wins the IC title, and you had your first time with Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series when basically both of them are a singles champion. Little they know they will face 5 years later and circumstances will completely change. But it led to Shawn basically doing this, getting IC champion many times, 2 times as a heel, 1 time World Tag Team Champion, win the Royal Rumble 95 as a heels, the first man in, last man out. I don't care if it's 1 minute, it's still impressive. Like that heel turn was very significant. And since then, people compare themselves, are you going to be as Michaels or Jannetty? I'm thinking both of them are talented. It's more like one person was focused on his career, the other one didn't care. That's it. But we need to think about us was a great thing. Like basically a great turn. It was a great moment in wrestling. So that's number 3 as a heel. Number 3 as a face. The lesser, my second favorite double turn ever. Demolition on the Power of Pains and Mr. Fuji at Survivor Series 1998. I know he said at the Survivor Series 1998. What am I, Bret Hart? Anyway, uh, because Demolition were getting cheered like crazy. I remember WrestleMania 4 when I rented the tape. Yeah, I'm that old. So when you rented tape, because I thought it was a great idea when we were kids, like you rented tapes, you also rented them on availabilities. And I started watching in 1993, but I wanted to basically get more knowledge about wrestling. I would watch in return. I watched 92 when it was when the year was 93. Then after was 91. Then after 90. And it's like when you watch like this, you're amazed that some people were eels. I was amazed that Randy Savage ever was an eel when he started it. But Demolition, at first when I watched them, their faces, and then when they turn eel, their faces 90, 90, 90, and afterwards it's like a 92. How come Demolition's not here anymore? But in 1998, it's like they were getting more cheers, and it's like I remember them winning the World Tag Titles at some Survivor. Sorry. They won the World Tag Titles at WrestleMania 4, and there were cheers when basically I think Smash pinned Rick Martel. The third, when it basically the referee man hit the mat for a third time, the cheers. And it's not the Attitude Era. It's an Attitude, basically a more pure era, the Rock and Wrestling era, and they still cheered. The wrestled eel face team, they still got cheered. They were ass kickers. They were ass kickers. I love the double team maneuver when both of them come in and beat down the person because that's more. You don't need to make super athletic, non-meaning moves like many people do in wrestling now or roll people up. That's something you would do, no? And then Survivor Series, it's like the Conquistador and their team, and there's Demolition on their team, and I wonder why Conquistador are still eliminated. But Demolition eliminated the British Bulldogs. Only a Power of Pains remain. I think Smash goes against the rope, but for some reason, Mr. Fuji hits him the cane, and it causes Smash to collapse to the outside and get counted out for his team. So his team's eliminated. So Demolition respond by body slam Mr. Fuji. And you think one of them turned face, but which one? Powers of Pain took, I think, did the running tackle to win a Conquistadors. Go help up Mr. Fuji. I think Mr. Fuji turned face, really? So they go back in the ring. Nothing happens. So then it's like for 1 or 2 minutes, like normal wrestling, like just normal wrestling, and just trying to basically do technical wrestling. Out of nowhere, when it comes to Conquistador, after resisting every move, for some reason we're kicking out of every move today that day. Somehow Mr. Fuji hits him the cane. Barbarian does a running, leaping headbutt. 1, 2, 3, that's it. Powers of Pain win. They hug Fuji. People boo. So I think it's a heel turn. Demolition comes back, clears house, and you hear the team music. So you knew they were turning face there. And Demolition turned face and had an awesome face-off move in the 1989 Rumble where both of them basically beat the bricks out of each other. And the moment number 3 arrived, they stopped. Like they established their characters just that moment. They didn't turn on each other. It's just everyone from himself, but it's not personal. Then we go back to being a team. Then they did. They went to having maybe the best reign the tag team has, at least world tag title reign that anyone has ever had. They were dominant. They lost the Brainbusters, but they gained it really soon after. And even when they lost, they seemed very dominant. They won. They're the only tag team that won three. They won tag team title matches at 3 consecutive WrestleManias in history, and they're still not in the Hall of Fame. Why? And they're a kick-ass team. Let's not forget that. Here comes the Smash. Here comes the Axe. And here comes the Smasher. Like they're already there. You knew something bad was something good was for you, but something bad for their opponents. That's Demolition, and that's their face it. Number 2 in terms of heel turn, Bret Hart in 1997 in WCW, on the American wrestling fans. That was a glorious promos. And the best part of the promos is whichever way you felt about Bret, you were right. You saw him as a whiny person who only complains about this and is conceited about him and only looks at himself. You were right. I mean, sometimes he's not the only one who was eliminated under dubious elimination, under dubious manners. He's not the only one who, quite frankly, was screwed out of a title. Shawn Michaels was as well. He's not the only one who had opponent ruin his WWE title opportunity. I mean, Mankind's opportunities was ruined by The Undertaker. Undertaker was ruined by Mankind. Austin ruined Bret Hart's chances, but hey, I mean, Sid ruined Shawn Michaels' reign, ended reign by cheating too. So it was just about everybody was cheating. So now we could see that, but also see some point of view. If you thought he was right, it's like, okay, fine. but never partake of this. Never said I'm going to partake in this. I want to wrestle with honor. And for a while, that's what he tried to do. He said he was going to go to Rumble and eliminate it being the last one standing, which he did. He was technically the last man standing until basically Austin took an opportunity that I think a lot of people should have had done anyway. The referees weren't looking. I really thought someone would say, "Hey, I'm eliminated." No, he went back in, eliminated the other ones, and won. So yeah, and then he turned. He basically faced. People forget that. Yeah, Bret Hart beat Austin, Taker, and Vader at Final Four. Basically, a match. It was basically a four-way battle royal because everyone you could have pinned by pinfall, but everyone was eliminated by throwing over the top rope. And he wanted the match, but the next very match, they decide next match he's gonna after having a bloody intense match. Rather than give him a week to rest, no, next night you face Psycho Sid, and he does. And even then, he looks forward to winning until Steve Austin, who thinks he's gonna be left out of WrestleMania, who's not gonna get his hand on Bret Hart, assaults Bret with a weapon and causes Sid to powerbomb him and pin him for the title. Then there's a rematch after the Steve Austin versus Bret Hart match is announced. And this is where Steve Austin said, you know what? I'm not going to assault Bret. I'm going to assault Sid because I want Bret to win. And that match, you saw Bret and Steve Austin team up in a Bret versus Sid steel cage match, tried to help Bret win the title. But the Undertaker's scheduled opponent, Undertaker, came out to help Sid because if Sid loses, then it's just an untitled match. So it's like that's logical. Why wouldn't you want your opponent to win the title so that your match becomes a title match? That was downright logical. I always like get put my hand in my the palm of my hand on my forehead when I hear people like I'm gonna cost my scheduled opponent title match because like dude, you could challenge for a title if you let him win or you help him win. Nope. But that made sense and not basically Undertaker costing Bret Hart the title match. So Bret Hart basically, for his character, he accepted help from Austin. So you could say he's whiny and doesn't see what he done. But at the same time, you could say he's screwed because Sid did not win on his own. It took Undertaker to him to win. For as much as he cheated, he got cheated back on. That led to WrestleMania, where Austin said he's not gonna quit. And he didn't. He's gonna beat the crap out of Bret. And he did. And Bret won the match by making him pass out. But it wasn't that why people booed him. It's because after the match, you made somebody pass out, submission match, and you still haven't enough out of your system. You still feel angry to the bone that you have to assault after the match. That's where people say, that's it. Burr is a whiny prick. And the American fans turn on him. And the next night, the glorious promo he did. And the next night, the following week with Owen and Bulldog. Owen and Bulldog basically reunited with Owen and Bulldog. And they say, basically, Owen. It's like the whole promo after Owen and Bulldog, a great match for the European title, interrupted. Yeah, a DQ actually added better would be better than an actual official ending because would Bulldog or Owen winning the European title would have changed something? No. Having the match being a no contest with Bart said, hey, why are you fighting for a title that basically we both have in the family? We have in the family. Why do you care? Because the fans want you to wrestle until basically they turn against you. So, and afterwards saying this, and remember what I said when remember what I said about like constancy? The one thing I liked and it made me laugh, but at the same time looking back, it's like, why did he do this? Why did Jerry Lawler like say this is beautiful in return? It's like Jerry Lawler should have still hated the family's guts. It should have been like Enan and Ogun, but it didn't happen. But Owen crying like a little baby made me laugh like crazy. Bulldog was more like grounded, and I've seen the look of disdain in Bret Hart's face after we looked at the crowd. Like I don't need them anymore. It's like, and the beginning of my best faction ever, the Hart Foundation. There's lots of highlights in that one. Not just Bret Hart, but also Owen Hart going from. I remember when promo, he looks at the camera. Ross starts with our foundation coming to the ring with their music. Owen looks at the camera and says, "We're winners! We're winners!" And I start laughing like crazy. It's like Owen was the breakout star of that group. He had the tag titles, he had ice titles, he had the Slammy Award winners. It was filled with gold. And Owen is a damn good highlight. He's a gem and one of my favorite wrestlers ever. I think he's my top five, along with Bret, Shawn, Austin, Rock. So yeah, but it's like the winners, like I don't know. Should see that promo. I don't know which promo on Raw, but it was some promo. But also the fact that Owen went from 94 to 97 before the Art Foundation, saying my lousy brother Brett to 97 forward. My loving brother Brett always made me laugh. Like the guy got wrestling better than others. Like little things like that. And they took a thing of the Godwins accidentally slopping the LOD, something that could be just and the fact that their characters kept laughing, come on, rewind it one more time. It's like Owen was such a gift. Oh my God. So I can't even say just because Brower got all that band together and Brian Pillman being as crazy as possible, and not RB Night Art, but still, he was the whole package. Every member had their own individuality, their individual personalities. And I love that about that group. They never had, we're not ever too crowded, like a certain other group that I'm going to mention later on. The point where you forget they're in their group. Nobody forgot who was in the group. You only need to have 70, because you have 70 people in your group, Don Callis family, doesn't make you better. It makes you more forgettable. This one had 5 people and was enough. And supposedly there were rumors that maybe Yokozuna would have joined. I would have think that would have been a great idea. But it didn't happen. But that's number 2 for heel turns. For 2 for face turns, it's Macho Man Randy Savage WrestleMania 7. Who would have thought that in the match, the loser leaves town, the loser retires between Warrior and Savage match, that people wouldn't talk about the winner Warrior as much as Savage, the loser, reunited with his wife Elizabeth after basically lost that match in a grueling match. Sherry kicked, knowing that she lost her meal ticket, betrays Savage until Liz comes in, saves him, and after a bit of apprehension from Savage and Liz, they reunite, hug together, and it was a classic emotional moment. In terms of a group, like people are saying, the best couple in wrestling to me is by undoubtedly Savage and Liz. Because as a character, I think Liz helped him become a better man. So yeah, so that would be my second favorite face turn. Now we're going to top heel turn. What's it going to be? Of course it's going to be. We all know what's going to be. Carlito turning heel and Ric Flair in 2005, 2007. I really like a heel turn when they try to win a normal tag match, in which case Carlito turns heel and gets his ass kicked by the guy Ric Flair, a 50-year-old man that he tried to turn heel on. I thought that was the greatest heel turn of all turn. Oh, greatest heel turn of all heel turns. No, seriously, my best heel turn, as you can tell, is Hulk Hogan on WCW in Bash of the Beach. Look at back. I'm looking at the heel turns, like at least of those ones. Holy crap. Well, my favorite heel turns, apart from Bread on America, most of them involve Bobby Heenan in some way, in a form. That's maybe why there's not gonna be a great heel turn afterwards. Hogan turned heel, and even his character felt kind of justified. The one time I could see that Hogan felt justified. Yeah, he's an egomaniac, but in character wise, he did everything for the charity, he did everything for ABC, and like I love that explanation. It's like, and for all this, you fans can stick it, brother, and then Nash said, yeah. But the whole thing, you say, okay, we don't need a partner to fight our match. At first, you think, okay, that's a mysterious attitude for heel saying, I don't need a third partner. I'm in a cat match. I don't care. So Luger gets taken out. You think, oh crap, it's gonna be Luger. Of course, he got taken out way early. It's gonna be him. You think maybe Sting or Savage. Savage not trustworthy sometimes. It can be exploded, but he's basically a loose cannon at times. And you got Sting, which was basically the point at first because it beat the guy with his franchise of WCW turning on this. Then Hogan arrives, and at first you think, okay, he's here. And I'm not gonna joke. Even back then, I thought, hey, that's kind of peculiar. He's gonna come. Don't tell me he's gonna be third man. My brother's saying that no, he's not gonna be third man. He's a good guy. He's so Hogan. He would never do that. Then you have Bobby and said, but which side is he on? He didn't expose this. He just thought, okay, it's too preposterous. It's just Enon being Enon, like basically as pessimistic about Hogan as possible. And lo and behold, Hogan turned his heel. Seeing it back was surreal. That's a surreal turn. It's like after all this, like this being turned, basically all the box office he did and goodwill he did as a character, as Hogan, he turns heel. And he brought new life to his character. 'Cause let's be honest, Hogan was turning really bad. was becoming very, very stale, very fast. I mean, it's heel, not his heel turn, but basically his rivalry with the Dungeon of Doom became really bad, became Phantom of the Opera-esque, and led to the bizarre Observer promo, Observe This Brother, to which I started laughing out loud. The It's Not Hot thing in the Dungeon of Doom. Like, I'll just say it was bizarre, but I'll just say it. Let's call things real. Dungeon of Doom were a treat 30 years too late. Like, now they're a treat watching those. It's like, it's not hot, it's not hot. There's no Maniacs here. And let's be honest, Giant's voice of ha 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 always makes me laugh. Especially when talk about World War III, talk about Disco Inferno. I'm gonna shake his booty off the battle royal. Couldn't talk like a normal human being like later on. Another thing that means about dubstep, I remember World War III promos. Who do you don't want to win the World War III battle royal? Every wrestler was saying Disco Inferno, the Disco Inferno, the Disco Inferno. But going back to Hogan, it's like it was still he needs to turn heel. There's no in between. He needed to turn heel. He needed at least a change, and it did. And unlike John Cena this year, which was a great moment, but didn't lead to anything substantial. This one, it's like not just a heel turn just to feel cool. It's like a heel turn that changed the game. Because after the NWO, it garnered great ratings, but also it helped also contractual. It also helped change contracts, wrestling contracts. Without the NWO, you don't know what's going to happen. The difference is John Cena did not need to turn heel. Hogan needed to turn heel, and quite frankly, wrestling needed Hogan to turn heel, especially WCW. WWE didn't need Cena to turn heel. They have their money. They didn't back then. WCW didn't have as money. The moment they did, it bought more years for WCW. And you knew was basically watch TV afterwards. And yeah, 3 years of him playing a coward. It's like trying to erase the goodwill, but at the same time, not erase the goodwill, but differentiate Hollywood Hogan from Hulk Hogan, which he did a great job at. So we have to give him credit on this one. And the reason why I say give him like a credit to the heels, like he did go into a lot of austerity, he did all of this, but WWE fans disliked him because he didn't represent WWE, he represented WWE from the get-go. And Scott Hall and Kevin Nash joined him, but basically, like at first, NWO, without saying it, was basically it's WWE against WCW, isn't it? And at first it was. It was so cool. But afterwards, it added just about everybody. Like Giant joining didn't feel right. X-Pac felt right. DiBiase felt right. And I felt like at first it should have been just WB guys. But anyway, that's number one heel turn. My number one face turn, again 97. And it's related to my favorite double turn ever, Stone Cold Steve Austin turning face at WrestleMania 13. What else can I say? I basically said why Bret Hart turned face, heel. Same thing for Austin. Austin basically did not change as a face. He still targeted the same people, face or heel. He didn't change. He didn't respect the rules that you. Well, he still kind of did by the rules, but he still kicked ass the way he thought he would do. Still cursed, drank beers, and no one was safe around him. But when he said he wouldn't quit, he wouldn't quit. He would never give up. He would never relent. And he would do everything under his power to win, but he wasn't lying about it. And he talked about DTA, don't trust anybody. And I always felt like 96, 97 promos of Austin were his best because there was real life frustration that boiled over in his promos. And I don't know why, but after 98, when one time, he didn't feel as intense. Like a little bit less intense. It's like he felt like, oh, my job is secure. I'll be world champion. But at the time, it's like he didn't know. Like it felt very intense. It felt, but also felt like his character at first didn't embrace the fans cheering for him. It's like they're jumping on bandwagon. Which this I couldn't understand them. You say, don't do this. You're gonna be a face. Like don't, because you can't be a face and calling everybody shut up. But Austin was creative. Austin was awesome, and his face turn. I mean, if he never turned face, W might not have survived. So it's like all those face turns are impactful in long term. So I'd like to talk more about Steve Austin's face turn, but my voice is shut. So I call it quits for now. So anyway, let me know what your best face turns are and what your best face turn and what your best heel turns are. So just to recap, I'll just finish with this. Best heel turns. Number 10, Larry Zbyszko and Bruno Sammartino in 1980. Number 9, Dominic Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero on Rey Mysterio. Number 8, Seth Rollins and The Shield in 2014. Number 7, The Rock at Survivor Series 1998 to join the corporation, and in 2003 to become Hollywood Rock. 6, in 1994, Boulder Winart and Mr. Bob Backlund turning on Bret Hart. Number 5, everybody turning on Hogan, whether it's basically Paul Orndorff, Andre Giant, Ted DiBiase in turn, but it's like you just give him an offer that you refused arrogantly. But Macho Man Randy Savage in 1989 and Sid Vicious 1992. Number 4, Jake the Snake Roberts turning heel first on Ultimate Warrior and then Macho Man Randy Savage 1991. Number 3, Shawn Michaels turning heel on Marty Jannetty. Marty Jannetty being the coward he is trying to escape through the window in 1992. Number 2, Bret Hart turning heel on American fans in 1997. And number 1, Hulk Hogan on WCW and forming the NWO in 1996. My best face turns. Number 10, Andre Giant turns face against Bobby Heenan at WrestleMania 6 in 1990. Number 9, Virgil turns face on Ted DiBiase at the 1991 Royal Rumble, 1991. Number 8, Daniel Bryan turns face and turns on the Wyatt family in 2014. Number 7, Sami Zayn turns face by turning on the Bloodline and Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble 2023. Number 6, Mr. Perfect on an episode of Primetime Wrestling turns against Ric Flair, Bobby and Razor Ramon, turns face and joins Macho Man Randy Savage to face Ric Flair and Razor Ramon in the 1992 Survivor Series. Number 5, Bret Hart turns face at WrestleMania 4 when he was eliminated by Bad News Brown in 1988. Number 4, Batista turning face on Triple H, turning against Evolution and challenged Triple H for the WB for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 21 in 2005. Number 3, Demolition turning face in the 1988 Survivor Series after being screwed out of the match by Mr. Fuji and turning on Fuji and the Power of Pains with them. They turn heel, but Demolition turned face. Number 2, Macho Man Randy Savage lose the loserly sound match against the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 7 and rejoins Elizabeth in 1991. And number 1, in 1997, Stone Cold Steve Austin turns face at WrestleMania 13 by refusing to quit in the submission match. So those are my favorite turns of all time. Let me know what you think. I've run enough. Have a good day. Bye.